let's see how this is working. I think I get an audio. Am I working here? I think so. Are we live? Oh, okay. I hear my own audio. That's a good thing. Hey, Escape. All right, let's start us out here. I'm just going to get all the remaining cables plugged in, and we could kind of just go from there. I need a standard flat cable. What did I do with that? Oh, that's right. I got the tank plugged into the wrong thing. There we go. And let's see what else I need. Just getting started out, just plugging stuff in for anybody who's just joining. Nothing crazy. Hey, what's up, Tony? Glad to see you. Yeah, 2 in a row. Well, let's cross your fingers that this one isn't a complete disaster, because I have no idea if this is going to work. Cousin Scott shipped this to me, and it doesn't really matter how good a job he did packing it. I think we've all seen what can happen with some letter carriers or mail delivery people. So let's just hope that everything falls into place here. But it was working the last time it was powered on, so... Mitsiju, yes, and some games load really fast, but the compatibility isn't 100%. If you go to the Shiro website, Sega Saturn Shiro, they did a lot of great work testing it. A lot of other awesome people did videos on it. Tito from Macho Nacho Productions did a video showing the different ODE solutions. So this is really just me. This is me doing the type of stuff I do in the very few moments I have spare time, but I'd rather just do it with you all, which is really selfish, but I'm okay with that. I'll take it. Of all the things to be selfish about, wanting to hang out with cool people is one I'm definitely comfortable with. All right, so let's gonna set the tank to the SCART input. And I'm gonna start by just powering it on. Excellent. Wait, what happened? We glitched. Well, that's not good. Let me see, let me make sure I get this at the correct angle so everybody can see it here. I'll try to move this up a little farther, so. All right, power on again. This comes up, and then are we gonna glitch again? All right, that's good news so far. Hey, Shadow Mask, how you doing? All right, so this is good news. So what was originally in here was a mod chip that I installed before I even came up with the name RetroRGB. It was just whatever was available at the time, and that was basically it. So what I want to do is just test to see if these CDRs even still work, and just kind of see if it's still functional, really. And then we'll, okay, play. No. So it's only playing the music, not reading it as a game. Let me try another one. And I don't remember, maybe I took the mod chip out and I had him boot from the Action Replay Pro. We could try that. I don't even remember what I had put on here. I don't know if this is one of the ones that I had flashed. I don't know. The disc is just spinning and stopping, spinning and stopping. Disc unsuitable for this system. Let me just try a couple more to see, because I'm curious to see if the original mod chip still works, or maybe we'll pop this thing open real quick and it won't even be in there. I'll give that a second to check, and I'll grab a screwdriver, because that's definitely going to happen. Thanks, Henry. Appreciate it. I'll be in and out today, too, so if you message me and I don't respond, please don't think it's not intentional. I'm going to be all over the place today and part of tomorrow. Subnautica, yeah. Well, I mean, I still would have popped it open to try to see what was wrong with it, but yeah, totally. Prime 1, wonder if the versus glitch on Battle Monsters is normal. I can't remember if it's on the disc. I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, Retronaut88. Glad I could be of assistance. I try my best. I don't always get it right, but... Alright, so this is another one that just plays music, I believe. Yeah, alright, I'm going to try the last disc, and then we'll try it with whatever the knockoff Action Replay was, and we'll go from there. So, Shadow Mask, funny enough, this was the Sega Saturn that I had bought 15 years ago when I decided to get back into retro and to buy all the stuff I always wanted as a kid, but couldn't afford back then. So I had bought this Saturn, and over the years, it had been the best video quality output of any Saturn I'd tested. And we later on figured out different reasons why. Voltar actually just made some progress on also trying to figure out why before his little bitch heart gave out. But then he, so that conversation's kind of tabled for the moment, because we can find ways to improve the video quality in the Saturns that aren't as good, but the ones that aren't as good are still great. It's not like the 2-chip SNESs before and after the mods. It's just, so yeah, so I've kept this one all these years, and when I had to sell off my collection, the third time, second time, whatever, I sold Cousin Scott's and gave him this one, which he didn't care. They looked the same. You know, he knew it was slightly better video quality, so whatever. And I think what was in here was a really old, terrible mod chip that I installed a million years ago. But I did give him this Action Replay, which may or may not be flashed with something. So this stream is essentially just to figure out what's going on with the Saturn, see if it still works, pop it open and take a look, and then finally take a look, for me to try out the Saroo myself for the first time ever. I've covered it, the Shiro crew's covered it, you've covered it, but I just kind of want to see for myself. So that's kind of the full story. Hey, what's up, Greg? Bubba, what's going on? GT, yeah. So, look, this is already doing better than I expected. Does anybody know what this is? Is this just... I just don't know what this is. Let me try booting with the tray open to see, because I thought if I had flashed this with custom firmware, that it would have loaded something on screen. But we'll find out in a minute here. Oh yeah, ST key, version 1.0, please wait. Drive door open. So yeah, I don't... Anybody know what that is? Is that even worth messing with, or should I just move right on? Oh, sorry you're not feeling so hot. I don't want to, I'm afraid to say this out loud because I'm afraid about to jinx myself, but I think the worst of allergy season's over here, so I won't feel like I just ripped a bong hit and I'm walking around in a haze, which, you know, at night when it's time to chill, I don't really mind that, but during the day when I got to get a bunch of stuff done, I hate that feeling. Some kind of action replay clone, yeah. Well, that's the other thing I just want to double check with these CDRs is because Cousin Scott has a reel of CDRs and a whole bunch of original games. So if the Saroo plays most of the games that he wants to play, and the ones he doesn't, he could just either use CDRs or originals, then it's a complete and total win. Yeah, all right, so let's just pop this open and see what's inside, and then we'll go from there. And if we don't need this anymore, this is just a cheap knockoff, it's not worth anything. So I just like give it away. Are there, Shadow Mask, you're probably the person to ask for this one. Is there like a Saturn collector out there that loves all the weird, crappy knockoff action replays? Because I know a lot of people who collect all of that stuff just for fun, just because it's cheap and it's interesting and sometimes you learn something. All right, let me make sure I'm on camera here. That way, or not, I'm on camera. Y'all know what I look like. Let me get another light going over here. It's a little bit better. Dave has 2 Saturns in their closet that haven't turned on in 20 years. All right. Well, if you know of anybody, I would be happy to send it along. Let's flip this over. Okay, forgot one of them. Or did I forget 2 of them? Well, find out shortly. There's definitely something rattling around in here, so I hope to be able to hand deliver this back to Cousin Scott soon. What the heck did I just do with the light that I had? Oh, right here. Good, good, good. That one. Not all the way out. Gotcha. Go. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is funny. I'm going to make sure to show off my crazy soldering skills from 15 years ago. Dave, if you want a Saroo, get the one that's linked here. It is not an affiliate link. I mean, if at this point anybody thinks I only sell things with affiliate links, I don't know what to tell you anyway, but it's not. It's just legitimately the best one out there. The action, SJF, the action replay can work as a RAM cart if you flash it with custom firmware, or if it's a model that advertises that as a feature. Shadow Mask and all the other Saturn experts, correct me if I'm wrong about that one. All right, so soldered the one wire to power, and I have this thing right here. Yeah, this is hilarious, but you know what? It's not embarrassing. It's just, you know, actually, this isn't really bad at all. Let me make sure I'm on camera here. So I have the, where's my light? So I wrapped it in non-conductive tape, which was smart, because that way when it flops around, no chance of shorting. And it was only one wire to solder, which I didn't do a terrible job on. So all things considered, I'm okay with this. I was afraid I was going to open it up and just see like a horror show of whatever I thought was okay at soldering 15 years ago, but nope. So I'm pretty sure all I have to do is unplug this ribbon cable, unplug this ribbon cable, put it in its place. Okay, put the tape back down. Almost surely isn't even sticky anymore, but whatever. And then just this, do that on camera, just that one little. Okay. I didn't even need to break out both pairs of glasses for this one. Now, I did also hear some stuff rattling around in here, so let me very carefully just see what broke and what might come out. Yeah. I think it might be best. Well, I guess I'll do a couple of things. Let me take the tape off of this so you all could see what this is. And same, if anybody in the Saturn community wants this just as a fun flashback to what we used to be, let me know. All right. So it's a pretty good idea. So all you have to do is solder in for power, and then it's got the ribbons for both drive types. So all this is pretty cool. Let me see, what does it say on here? Console goods? Yeah, so that worked. If anybody collects old mod chips, let me know. I'll put that alongside the knockoff Action Replay. Maybe I'll just send that to Pat from the Shiro crew and just not tell him why. If he's not watching this, he'll just be like, "What?" I like stupid pranks like that because, you know, it's not mean-spirited at all. All right, so I think let me try taking out just the power supply because I definitely hear some stuff rattling around, and I would prefer to be cautious if possible. I think there's only one screw here. Also, if this works, there's really no reason to ever open this thing up again because Saroo should do everything we need. Oh, that's right. Two on the back. Am I still on camera? Yeah, okay. The Sony camera I'm using for this one doesn't have a working viewfinder when you're in HDMI mode, so I gotta always just look back at the OBS window. Okay. Yeah, I still hear stuff rattling around, so unfortunately I think I'm gonna have to take the motherboard out, which is probably boring, but I want to do this right, and it's only gonna take a couple more minutes. Grab my pliers too. guess I'll take that off the top one. You could definitely see why there's a lot more people, or a lot more Saturns failing than consoles before it, because there's just a lot more parts in here. I mean, I guess you could say that about everything with the CD-ROM drive, but still. If this was a Super Nintendo or a Genesis, it would have been open already. There we go. Is this screw holding the board down too? Probably. Yeah, it's in there. Well, lost that one too. All right. I want to be careful I don't break the plastic here, so I'm just going to go in sideways. That is a very rusted out metal shell here. And there was just one piece of plastic rattling around. That was what was making all that noise. That would have never shorted anything out or caused any problems. So this was a bit of a waste. But since it's open, I'm going to grab a Clorox wipe and get wiping. I'm going to grab a bunch of those. A VA say, I'll get you that info. 1 second, Chattermask. Good question. Serial number. Manufactured October 1995. Serial number 0511-26467. And my Clorox wipes have dried out, because of course they have. All of them? Are the whole thing dry? Oh. Fail. Yeah, Max, I'd rather, you know, as much as I try to respect everybody's time, I'd rather waste everybody's time on this stream than go, it's probably nothing, and have it be a screw and short out a console that's otherwise in great condition. All right, Clorox wipes number 2. Luckily, I always have backups of these. Anybody else use these? So you're supposed to like get all in there. I try to get the middle one out, right? Oh, well, yeah, of course I do it on the first try. I never get it on the first try. I was about to complain about that, but here we go. All right. The console is actually in really good shape otherwise, so I would normally consider doing like my full wash down, you know, with a soft plastic brush type of thing. But I just don't think this one needs it. I think there was just probably some dirty vent holes back there. Try to get this too. Yeah, I mean, this already looks a million times better for just a couple of seconds worth of work, so why not? All right, so we just put it back together and turn it on, right? Don't worry, I got dry wipes and I'll probably blow it out too. Aren't there only 3 VCD games for it? And yeah, Shadow Mask, I'll grab that in 1 second. I just want to get this dried off so I don't leave any moisture on the metal for too long. Okay, it is dry to the touch, but we're still going to hit it with air in a little bit. Cool. Macross and Lunar, right, exactly. Alexander wants to know if I know if the SNES 001 has sync issues on RGB compared to the one-chip model. No. No, it could be the capacitors though, because all the capacitors on SNES consoles are starting to die. Hey, what's up, Dan? Alright, so let's motherboard revision, if I could find it easily. And I gotta get that screw that I dropped in there too. Got the screw. You can tell how long it's been since I've taken apart a Saturn, huh? I think I should take that out. That should probably help. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I can't really see, so how about I take a picture? 171-7006C. Why don't I take a picture and put it on stream and see if that's what you all need? Let me also get one with the light. Yeah, Pat, it's really starting to become something that people really need to do. Like a couple of years ago, it was like, you know, if you have time, but now it's like, yeah, if you're doing any maintenance on your SNES, just do it. Oh, thank you so much, Shadow Mask. I really appreciate it. It's nice of you to have that super chat. Hey, Monkey Man. So is that what you're looking for, Shadow? I think it might be. I'm gonna get my my air blower thingy out while I wait for your response. It should say VA somewhere. All right, let me drag this around. This is the version with direction misspelled. Ah, that's very funny. Ah. All right, let's look for it to say VA. Hey Neo, just checking out a Saturn, making sure it's still working. Then I'm going to test a Saroo. Nothing, right? I don't see VA anywhere. Let me look at the bottom of it. Maybe it's one of the weird ones that's printed on the bottom. I think it's best if I take another picture, also because I just don't want to have to put my glasses on again. Alright. Let's get it lit up. Hey RG Beater, what drive board was in there? Good question. I will find out for you in a second. That's the back of it. I'll get a better picture if we could at least find where the writing is on it. What is... Alright, that says something up there. I can get a better picture of that. Let me just double check the middle. Nothing in there, right? Yeah, I'll get a better picture of this part. And I'll get a picture of the drive board too. So that's what the writing was that was just kind of blurred out right there. And then I'll get a picture of the drive board for you. NR007, yeah. Also say on the controller board. Cool, I'll do that too. VA1 USA. Cool. All right, let's blow this thing. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a tiny little bit of moisture still coming out. This is why I always do this, even if I wipe it down really good. Power supply. This was actually very, very clean overall, but we're already here. No moisture off of the metal. That's fine. Let's try this. Now this is shockingly clean. All right, put this stuff back together. And let's see if it still works, and we go from there. Andrew wants to know how many retro collectors are going for an EverDrive Infinity Gauntlet these days. All of the collector friends I know have them. Some still choose to use original carts, but I actually have a lot of friends that these days only use their ROM carts, but refuse to get rid of their originals, just because they want their originals to last as long as possible. All right. Now let's see if I can get all this back in. This. Wait. So if anybody, I'm going to check every step of the way. So if anybody sees me do anything stupid, like I was almost about to do, call me out in the chat. This one. Well, like that, except at least this one's an easy one. I put the ribbon in before I put the metal over it. That's okay. Super easy mistakes. Never mind. All right, let me check the chat, see if I messed anything up. That old school magic, I gotta respectfully disagree. I love the cartridges that I have. I love having them on my shelf. That's the nostalgia for me, really. The games themselves, if they weren't good games, I could care less about them. The nostalgia is seeing those awesome carts, knowing that I own them, you know, occasionally plugging the original cart into an unmodded console via composite into a CRT. Like, that stuff is fun to me, and it's important to me. Yeah, Retronaut 88 agrees. All right, I think I'm good. I don't think I screwed that up too bad. So let's put this back in slowly and carefully, as always. Oh, shit, where'd it go? Got it. My neighbor's weed whacking right outside the window, but there's not much to do on the side of his house, so he'll be done in a minute. This work with a bigger, no, all right. So then also that grounding strap. What the heck did I do with that? Uh-oh. That's kind of important, I'm assuming. Oh wait, found it. I forgot how this went in already. I always do this stuff. So I know that goes there. That goes there. Oh, just goes to show you how long it's been since I've done this stuff. The folded over edge goes to the console side sideways, right? And am I in the right? Yeah. Is that it? Goes in like this. I realize I just took this off, but you know, mistakes happen. Hey, Rumble Mints, how's it going? Yeah, you can't get rid of your original cartridges because you need them to dump the ROMs to do all the crazy work you do. Wait, I caught that one at least. Both of them. I gotta put the screws back in, and I have to put the plastic piece down. I'll wait for anybody to chime in on that grounding strap. Okay, checking the chat. No, Shadow, I haven't. Was that written up on the Shiro website? If Dan's still here, if you wouldn't mind, Dan, you could write that up on RetroRGB. You all know I'm a giant fan of all of your work and just love helping out promote it. Alright, I think I guessed right with the ribbon cable then, based on the chat. So, the only thing I'm trying to figure out, which side was which? You know what? That looks like, I think that was the key. Suddenly this thing just looks like it fits a lot better right here. I guess if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And if it shorts out, then we all get to laugh at me live on stream. Now, I should just stick my screwdriver in these and twist them around until they're tighter, right? Sorry, nerd humor. Yeah, that had to have been it. That had to have been it. Everything just looks exactly like it's supposed to right now. All right, cool. And that makes sense too, because the grounding strap has 2 holes in it, so I bet you there's another revision drive that fits this second hole a little bit better. Okay. Put this back in. I do love these Sega solutions of, how can we install a power supply right in a really dangerous part of where we're going to put all the other components? Let's jam a piece of plastic in there. What could go wrong? We are almost done. One screw. These. So we used similar open frame power supplies in the computers the company I used to work for designed, and I used to have a rule: no power supply testing before 10 a.m. because of all the times that I'd walk into the office and I'd be half asleep or honestly hungover, depending on what customer trip I was out with the night before, and I'd be like, all right, so what are we going on today? Oh, and like, it wasn't just the shock, it was then the smell of burnt flesh. Ugh. So yeah, lots of memories of that. So let's just power this on and make sure we still have signal. Good. Put the top on, and then I think we can start Saroo testing. I'll give the chat a minute in case I messed something up. Whoa, Zazabar, thank you so much for the super chat. That is really, really nice of you. I appreciate that. So Zazabar says, you rock, keep being awesome. Thank you. Big ups to the VHS digital preservation vids. I'm shocked at how well the TBC and the RetroTink 4K worked. Yeah, so thank you very much. I'm not done with those. I'm still going to do some Doomsday videos. I'm going to do a couple other follow-ups within the next year. I just got a lot of backlog to go through, and I just don't like doing the same stuff over and over. I don't want to lose people because I've only done VHS stuff for months in a row, so I want to swap it back around. But yeah, the time-based corrector and the RetroTinks, just to be clear, if you have like a $2,500 studio-grade time-based corrector, keep using that, without a doubt. However, if you don't have one, they're perfect for VHS, and there's zero complaints. They work, as long as you're on the latest firmware, they work as good as you could imagine. So, yeah, that is, thank you again, but I want to do more work on that. ZPF? Please remember that I deal with acronyms all day long, so you have to just spell it out for me, please. Oh, RGB, yeah, totally agree. That was actually, 100% kidding around. It works fine, and of all the corners Sega has cut, that is not even one that would pop on my radar to seriously call out as something to fix. I was just being silly. Yeah, you're totally right. So some of you may have noticed I used this to take a lot of the screws out, but it won't fit for the Saturn. And you're not really supposed to use power screwdrivers to put screws back into plastic, but if it's a Genesis or a Super Nintendo, I've taken those apart so many times, I kind of just know when to start slowing down. Whereas if, it's a console that I don't take apart that often, like this one, even if it did fit, I still would prefer to use just a decent screwdriver to screw everything back down. Because if you go too far or too hard, you get those little dimples in the plastic, which I see in so many Super Nintendos. I'm not going to bother changing the battery in this because I don't think Scott's going to be... Scott would plug this in only when needed. So I'd put a battery in and it would die in a month anyway. Right. So last night I bugged Pat and Dave about what to do with the Saroo, and I think I have the SD card configured properly, but we'll find out. Yeah, Shadow Mask. So if you and Dan are still here, maybe you could kind of clarify exactly what you were talking about with the Saturn Online stuff, because I wasn't sure what you meant, and it seemed awesome. So I'd like to know more about that, and maybe it's maybe now's the right time for a post on RetroRGB, or not. I don't know. We'll find out. Mounting. This. Let me catch up with the chat again real quick. The game is actually called ZPF. It doesn't stand for anything. Will filling screw holes with hot glue and retapping them work? I don't think so. Yeah, that's why you'll also notice when I plug or when I re-screw something, I'll get the screw in and I'll back it out until I feel it pop down, and then I'll start screwing in. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to work right away, because this is one of the many Saturns I've seen over the years that had the cart slot damaged by bad action replays. So I might actually need to fold up like a piece of paper and jam that in there to get it to work. Which, now that I think of it, may have been the problem on the other action replay. Maybe that is flashed too. I don't know. We'll figure that out in a second. Get this aimed. Well, geez, I guess that looked like it worked, huh? Shout out to Dave and Pat for walking me through that. It was so easy that it actually just felt like I was missing something. So, oh, so it can't be in those subfolders, maybe? So it says load game disk. So let's see if that means I could boot the CDR. Well, that's a big yes, huh? So we already proved that that CDR booting works. Ah, 0-point field. Are MegaCat's cartridges okay? Because the last time I saw something from MegaCat, it was bad. I mean, it's years ago, but everything. The cartridge, the PCB, like everything. Okay. Could even cartridge memory. I'll switch this over to capture view once we're sure that everything's working the way it's supposed to be, but that's awesome. So even though I'm using a CDR, I could still save it to the Saroo. That's really cool. All right, well, since I'm touching a controller now after just doing all that stuff, I'm going to go wash my hands. And as usual, I'm going to talk through it like a creeper so nobody joins the stream and thinks I'm peeing. Because it's going to happen at some point, and it's always going to be embarrassing. But washing off the Clorox wipe. All right. I'm sure this is partially OCD, if not 75%, but I can't tell you how many times I've worked on consoles and like accidentally touched part of the CD-ROM drive where there's the gear grease, and then I grab the controller and I go back to the controller a couple days later and it's greasy and I feel like a gross creeper. So it's, yeah, totally fine with me to just take a moment to wash my hands, wipe the controller down. All right, so the AV port is a little finicky, like I see it very often with Saturns, but fine, good enough. All right, power this off. So for the Saroo, for loading games on the Saroo, I put them in the ISO directory, and then I put them region underneath that. Is there a limitation to how many subdirectories I could do? I'll show you what I mean in a moment here. Let me just try to get this right on my computer so you can see. Zach, that is a ridiculously gorgeous 480 hertz OLED monitor that Destiny's letting me borrow. And I'm using it for BFI testing and a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, that is incredible. So, all right, I don't need that directory. I dropped that there just to do other stuff. So this part's obviously set up correctly. Otherwise, I wouldn't have booted and been able to get to the disk. However, a couple of questions. So where do the save games go? Is that just this? And they're inside those files? And also, here's how I have the ISO set up. So let me try, dropping that in the root and seeing. And underneath each is bin and queue. Let me get this so you can see it. So is this correct? Seems like it, right? No, 480 hertz. So it runs at 4K 240 or 1080p 480, and it is ridiculous. All right, let me get this back in. Power. No, Teague, that's totally wrong. No disrespect. It's nothing you could do. If an edge isn't beveled, there's nothing you could do to prevent it from smashing the pins. The bevel itself is what is designed to move the pins apart from each other. So I guess that... Wow, that was fast. Whoa. I'm not gonna play a whole game of this. I just want to, real quick, just see the loading times on this. That's pretty cool. Cool. All right. So I think that's working. I just think that means I need to move all the games over, right? Garrett Bear, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to help. Wow. Back in 2014. Still in a band, living in Stanford, out partying on a unhealthy but really awesome basis. All right. Yeah, so Tish, if a cart is beveled, as it's going, even a slight bevel, as it's going in between the pins on the cartridge slot itself, the bevel is what moves the pins away in a proper angle. Whereas if you have a square, even if you go in carefully, even if you go in slowly, it's still not carefully pushing them apart. It's just smashing into them and slightly bending them. Try a Ram Kart Fighter. I will. I just have to figure out the setup. So let me go back to desktop view, and hopefully somebody with the Saroo could just jump in here and help me out with this. Because, yeah, so Saroo and the ISO folder, and I just dumped that game right in, but it appears that I can't have things in multiple subfolders like that. Is that correct? Steffi, I don't think so, but it can run CDRs, so you could always just burn a CD if you want full original. Retronaut, check out Tito's video on that. Basically, the Fenrir has more compatibility, but the Saroo's a lot faster, and you just plug it in. You don't need to install everything. All right, well, I think... All right, let me just try this one more time, and if everything has to be in one folder, that's cool. I don't mind. And then I'll switch over to RetroTink View, and then we could try out a couple of games, but this is the shortest stream I've done in a while, and actually is full success with no crazy mistakes, so... Oh, your Saroo needs the game folders to be immediately inside the ISO. Extra subfolders don't work. Excellent. I'm going to demo that again. Not that I don't believe you, just because let's just show everybody. It says Saroo. I love that. All right, select game. Hacks, nothing, Japan, nothing. All right, so it does have to be in that original folder. So I'm going to dump everything back in, and then I'm going to switch over to RetroTink View so you all could just see it full screen, not through a camera. And let me, for people who are asking about the differences, let me just get that video for you. Perfect, it's the first one that popped up. All right. Hey, Belmont. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Oh, Max, I could edit the config file for folder structure. README examples are in config. All right, I will make that view full screen so everybody could see it. If we could figure this out, it would just, it would make my OCD happy. I wish I could tell you there was that much better of a reason, but I just like knowing where everything is. Like if I want to play a hack, I don't want to have to scroll through the original or all the original games to find it. So do I have to modify this if I want to enable the RAM cart, or is it already built in? Custom game categories, up to 12 subfolders. So, all right, I'm going to do this right here. Well, first of all, let me drag this to the desktop in case I mess that up. So let's just go sort mode equals. So we would uncomment that and sort ascending, right? And that's all of the edits to. That's cool as heck. All right. So sort mode. Let's try that, and I'll save it and give it a try. By the way, for anybody just joining or anybody who hasn't seen it, I just want to go over the demonstration on how you install the Saroo, because I think this is a big deal for a lot of people. Saroo, installed. That's it. You don't need a screwdriver. The whole beginning of this stream was just making sure Cousin Scott's Saturn was still good. There's nothing else to do. You just plug that sucker in. No, so I didn't do it right. So let's go back and take a look. Rumblemans looks too advanced for me. I think you need to create the category on the config file and corresponding folder on the SD. So let's just, we'll try exactly that. In fact, I'm gonna get the exact ones. USA hacks Japan. All right. USA. Yeah, Rumblemans pulled their mode out of the Saturn and replaced it with the Saroo so they could keep the drive in. I know a bunch of people who did that because they just want original discs sometimes. And I know it's weird, right? Like, why would you care? You know, you have the ability to load something. It's faster, it's easier, but it's important sometimes. I don't really care why. Rumblemans, you coming back to Retro World this year? There's a bunch of us meeting up. I was going to talk about it on next week's podcast. guess I didn't do it right. Would I have to put ISO /? That's certainly a possibility. Oh, awesome. Glad you're going to be there. So T, here, let me show you. So if I had just, in this ISO directory, if I had just taken all of the games out of the USA directory and dumped them there, it would just work fine. But I want things separated for a bunch of different reasons. So that's why I have to add the subfolder compatibility. So do I... And I could put it back in the... so I'll put it back in the correct order just in case. I don't think that would matter at all. But would it be /? Let's try that. Are you sure? Is that how you did it on yours? No. All right, I'm gonna just try a couple other things because this is info that I think it's good to have out there. I might just write a very quick post on RetroRGB, just setting up your Saroo. And Care Bear, yeah, definitely. Saroo game subfolders. Let me... Yeah, I'm just trying to quickly look up any info I can about this. Let me also try I'm not finding anything. Let me check the chat. You all finding anything? Robert, the cartridge slot on both of my Saturns are too temperamental to use a Saroo. Sometimes they just won't read carts, and no one in the modding restoration community seems to repair them. Index card. Take an index card, fold it in half, jam it back there, see what happens. If it's not enough, fold it into thirds. That's how this Saturn ran for the past 15 years. And when that's in there, it works perfect. Oh, Neo, so that's not the type of category then. Okay, I can't manually edit the subfolders like that. All right, okay. I understand now. Thank you, Neo. All right, well, while this isn't going to be the neatest then, what I'm just going to do, well, first I'm going to put the config file back the way it was. Then I'm going to go, oh man, all right, well, yeah, I'll show you Dreamcaster. I'll show it in 1 second. Let me just finish reorganizing all of this stuff. So there was, it froze. Give it a second. Well, while we're waiting for this thing to unfreeze, let me show you what I mean. Funny enough, I had that same index card for like the whole 15 years. I'm going to use a piece of paper though, just because this thing obviously doesn't need it. So with it plugged in, you would slide it in. Now you might actually have to do something like fold it into, like this. So this is just an extra piece of paper I was going to use to start a fire with. So like a fire pit, not like go start a fire at Voltar's house or something. But I would probably make it so you could barely see it. And then you would put it in with it like that. And I would just start one at a time. So yay, it's like I'm in New York again. So I would start with something like this. Not even on camera. Am I on camera? No, what a moron. Sorry, everybody. So, yeah, something like that. And then you kind of get it all in together. And that's just a piece of paper. An index card will be much snugger. And then, yeah, that's how you would do it. So you would not want it like this. You'd want it snug enough. And that will hold it in place. And I used the same index card the entire time I had that Saturn, and then the entire time Scott had it for the action replays, until he put it into storage and lost my vintage index card. All right, almost done with the SD card, and then we'll try it out again. The pins could need a reflow, but also the pins could be bent from people putting action replays that weren't beveled in them, just like we were talking about before. So you could just, every time you put that action replay in, it would smash the pins, so you need to jam it in so it pushes it up against. Oh, geez, Neo, that's all I needed to do? Well, you know what? Let's try that then. Let me put this back. Oh, Ty? My bad. I apologize. Irish? Oh, there is a in-game reset for Saroo, huh? Well, you just push a bunch of buttons on the controller? Ryu, this is the opposite of a pain in the ass. Everything just worked. The only thing that's been a pain is just trying to figure out multiple subfolders. I see why you could jump in the stream and think that, though, but that, yeah, I'm basically just trying to push it to fit around how I use things. If you just put your favorite games on it, it would be as easy as it gets. Start plus ABC, thank you. No, Ty, I meant is the name. Is the name Irish? I mean, Bob just sounds like a burp. A stupid American name. All right, let me make sure I got the right one here. So I'm going back. Let me find... All right, Neo, I think this is what you were talking about. So I'll go here, category equals, USA, Japan hacks. I think that's what you put, so I'll try that. I think the issue, Dan, is just that, good guess, Ty. See, I know stuff. I think the issue, Dan, is for, because a lot of people can't find replacement cartridge slots for Saturns. So unless you happen to find a motherboard that's completely destroyed, it would be hard to even get one. I could be wrong about that, and I would love for somebody to sell a replacement, but I also think it's pretty hard to replace as well. So having something where you could, like, drape a flex cable over it, drag solder over, I think would actually be a pretty cool solution. Not for everybody, but in the case of a broken cartridge slot. Now, I'll try one more, if anybody's got anything here. I think as much as this is kind of boring and annoying, if we solved this, there's going to be a lot of fellow OCDers that could be happy. Oh, maybe check to see if spelling, yeah, good point. So we'll go in here. USA, capital J, capital H. All right. I'm going to try that. And if anybody has any other ideas, now's the time. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of move on because I don't want to bore everybody to death. But I'm assuming that uncommenting that and leaving this commented is what I'm supposed to do, right? Yeah, Brand, exactly. Like, this is just one of those things where I could whip up a post pretty quickly about this, and it would just be a help for people. And for global... Oh, for global, EX memory equals 4 meg. All right, so we're definitely going to try one of those games, too. If that doesn't work, then no spacing between them. All right, I'll try those two last things, and then we'll just move on, just so we could play a couple of quick demos, and then I actually gotta go. I'm heading to Arcade Brooklyn later today. Got to make a bunch of stops, but I am excited to see my friends that I haven't seen in a long, long time. English. Oh, I changed the directory name anyway, but that shouldn't cause failures on all of them. So let's see. I'm just gonna swap that one more time. Max mentioned case matters too. I don't know why I was too stupid to remember that. Thank you, Max. So these Retro Game Restore shells for the Saroo are very high quality. So if you have a thin, crappy case, it's going to just flop around inside the cartridge shell. So thank you for reminding me about that. That's one of the many reasons why you skip the knockoffs. There was no space between them. Okay. So, Neo, what else do you think I should put under the global setting? Oh, but Oh, so copy the same thing under global. Oh, I see what you mean. So leave that commented. Oh, so I could have potentially been doing this all wrong the whole time. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to restore the original. We'll open this up. And this is all just here for reference. And under global, I'll put that. And then we could try, all right, that would be very easy, and that actually makes sense. So let me do that. Well, Random Kaz, if you have one and you want Saroo, that's the easiest way to experience it. I believe the Mister core is pretty awesome at the moment, though, so you could try it there as well if you have a Mister. Or just find some software emulators. Go to the Sega Saturn Shiro website and see what the last updates and what everybody's been using. Okay. So y'all are seeing that, right? It adds the category, but it doesn't do anything to it. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, Dan, didn't he just release the STV core officially? Or was I reading the Patreon announcement wrong? Yeah, Ryu, I'm trying to just sort via subfolders. Put a space between that. All right, so let me move this back over. So for anybody just joining, or anybody who might want to try to help, I have the Saroo folder, and all the games go under ISO. So just dumping all of these into the main folder works, but I want these subfolders for all the reasons. So we're trying to edit the config file. I think it sees it as all in one name. Yeah, so why don't we do category equals, yeah, why don't we just do one for each and see what happens. I'm going to try adding a backslash to the USA one as well, just to see what happens. And actually, let's try, that way we have a chance to try all three and see what happens. Yeah, Neo, I appreciate all the suggestions. They've all been good suggestions, so. Oh, okay. Did that sort of worked? All right, we're on to something. All right, we are on to something. I'm gonna go all out here and just see if this works, because why the heck not? So we're gonna bring this up. So Japan, works, main, video. Let's just see if this actually works. All right, let's try this and see. Oh yeah, here we go. That is very cool. Japan, that all works. Widescreen. All right, that is awesome. Let me try the USA folder one more time, and then I'm just going to make a copy of that file and go from there. All right, so select game. Let's go into USA. Oh, X-Men Children of the Atom, was that the one that required the 4 meg cart? Are there any USA games that required it, or were they all Japan? I could press start to skip the Saturn info. Thank you. That's the type of stuff I really need to know. Not the MPEG cart, the 4 meg cart. I'll do a quick Google search for that. Good old Racket Boy. So it's X-Men versus Street Fighter. But was that a USA game? I don't think so, right? I'm looking at my Saturn games now on my hard drive. USA, so... All right, so I'm looking at the games now. They look like to be only Japanese games require it. So Virtua Fighter Remix is a 4 meg. All right, and let's see about the 1 meg cart, and let's just check if both of those work. X-Men versus Street Fighter is a 1 meg. All right, cool. Marvel superheroes? All right, well, we could test that right now. So ABC start. It's not how the in-game reset is not working for that. Okay, select game, USA, and that was... Dan, I believe this is for Japanese games, not for the US games. Marvel superheroes we'll try. I mean, that appears to be working. All right, so let me go back. Let me get the last couple of things on here, and then we will plug it in through the Tink and go from there. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is back up that Saroo config and take a screenshot. I'll take screenshots of all of this just so I could show them in the post. I'll write that post tomorrow. I'll also give it time for it to be up on live stream in case somebody figures out that there's an easier way or something like that. All right, and now I could just go in and I'm gonna dump those games into it. Rob, I think that got fixed in a firmware update. Oh. Huh. So maybe I was looking at the 4M here and thinking that that was a requirement or something. Well, let's see. Cart. Yeah. Racket Boy. Here we go. So X-Men versus Street Fighter. I got that. And then so X-Men versus Street Fighter at the very least, that's going to be the 4 meg cart. And let's try the 1 megs just to see if it works. Metal Slug. Okay, I'll get Metal Slug up here. Metal Slug. Make sure I got the right one here that I've backed up. Nope. Okay. Thank you, Dan. Much appreciated. Oh, USL. You as well, SJF. All right, let's So I think this is actually probably a good time to switch over to RetroTink mode. So let me All right, so it's all working. Select game. Let's go to Japan and let's boot Metal Slug. And now I'll switch it over to the RetroTink view. Ooh. All right, it is loading. Okay. Switching over to a different view. Hopefully this works. Beautiful. All right. I'm just going to slide my console closer. Should be good enough. I'm just going to play a tiny bit. I'm doing this right through the OBS window too, so I'm sure I'm going to be terrible, but whatever. All right, in-game reset for this thing. Did somebody say it was start A, B, and C? That's for basic reset. Reset to menu. It's got to be something different then. Let me power off. I'm back on. Hold ABC and hit start. Yeah, that was reset, but what about reset to the main menu? Japan. X-Men Street Fighter. Oh, really? I thought you couldn't use the games at all without the cartridge. All right, so I'm holding down ABC. I'm hitting start. Back to that. I'm going to hold down ABC and I'm going to hold start. Oh, look at you. All right. Start application. All right, that booted the last game. Okay. So it has hard reset and soft reset. That's awesome. How do I get back to the Saroo? What if I just keep holding it? Press start at CD menu. Let's see. Oh, I just, yeah, all right. So, ha! Well done, Neo. Well freaking done. Thank you. All right. So let's see what else we got. Let's just try another game or two just to see. I always like playing Outrun, but wait a minute. What was the, hold on. Outrun Saturn 60 frame per second moment. Outrun. I always have to look it up. All right, options, game mode, hold A and C, or press left and right. So, actually, let me just play it the regular way, but let me also just leave myself a note for everything that we've learned here. Turn up the volume on this a little bit. I can't hear it though, so let me know. Maybe you can't hear it either? All right, there we go. Let me know if that's too loud. I forgot, oh, I always forget which version of the game I'm playing and how to shift low and high on each version. This still holds up as a very, very fun arcade racer. All right, so I'm gonna hold ABC and tap start. That brings me back here. I'll go into options. All right, let me go back into that menu and see what it was. It is options, highlight game mode, then hold A and C. Japan smooth, and that's supposedly the 60 frames per second mode.
Get ready.
So is it just me, or is this one of the weird cases in video game history that it doesn't look as good? And I'm sure it's just because the game was programmed for 30 frames a second, and so you don't, you know, it was programmed to feel fast, and but I don't know. I don't think this is just weird. Or maybe if I played this as much as I played the original, I don't think, maybe it's one of those things where I wouldn't be able to go back to the original. What do you all think? Yeah, let me go options. Overseas. I love how it just says overseas. Like, screw everybody else. It's us and everybody else. I mean, it was released in Japan, so that's also fair, but. Yeah, I think this is just one of those programming things. I think the game was masterfully programmed to run at in the exact way that it was. So just enabling 60 frames per second without changing the rest of the game is very cool, but I don't think that accomplished. I think you'd have to rewrite the game. And But I'm not a programmer, so maybe everything I just said is stupid. I'm fine with that. All right, so ABC hold start. All right, let me try that again. Okay. And now we just hit the start button here. We go back. That is great. What else do we have here? Outrun, Space Harrier, Afterburner. Isn't this like the best part of, or the best port of Space Harrier? It does look great. I'm going to end the stream kind of soon, but if anybody has any reasonable requests, something that's not going to take too long to test, I'm just going to load up a profile too, just because why not, right? Sega Saturn.
Get ready. Get ready.
Let's see what happens here. Razor sharp. Cyrus, the Saroo doesn't do CRT filters at all. That's up to your scaler. All right. So I actually think it's I think the correct way to do it is hold ABC, tap start once to go back to the to soft reset the game, and a second time to reset to the disk menu. We'll test this out one more time, but I'm leaving myself a note to make sure I try this. I don't remember if I tried that one, and this is probably a very old version. Let's just boot it, see what happens. Oh, it's not doing anything. I'll try to be patient and give it a minute. Let's see if in-game reset works. No, that froze up the Saturn, but that's probably a very old version of whatever that is. I gotta clean some of these up. Bootleg sampler, I don't think anybody's gonna care about. I'm really liking the disc art too. That's pretty neat. I guess we'll try a widescreen hack maybe. No, I haven't had that yet. Yeah, retro my bits, agreed. The caps looked fine in this one though. I can't remember if Cruise redid this one. I don't think so. Neo, I don't have any idea. All I did was just install the latest version of the Saroo, of Martin's Saroo firmware, and that's it.
Let's rock. Damn, those alien bastards are gonna pay.
All right, so if this is widescreen hacked, then I should just be able to go into. Actually, let me just load the default profile just to make things easier. Go into that. Then Full crop to 16:9. Does that work? That is pretty cool. Hey, Retro My Bits, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not good at these games anyway, but playing them in the OBS window is not helping. Alright, so holding down ABC, tapping once, tapping again. Alright, let me try that again. It might have Neo. So the in-game reset, like most others, is probably only active when you could actually use the controller. Yeah, so it's not working now, which is totally fine. I guess I'll load up one last game, and I'll put it back to 4x3 once the game loads, but just in case Ian drops by the stream, we'll make him happy. I mean, we might as well start and end with my favorite, even though it's not even close to the best version. Don't worry, I'm not going to play the game in this mode. I just want to get it loaded, and then I will stretch to vertical. Okay. Back in. Vertical only. Beautiful. Whoa. What did I do? Yep. Okay. Forgot how sensitive the controller is in this version. Let me try that again. Yeah, this game's a classic. Aww, I didn't do the bounce right. Well, you know what? I already screwed it up, so let me just drive in the wrong direction. Have a good old head-on collision. There we go. All right. Nothing like some destruction. So that did work. Awesome. Let me All right. Well, thank you to everybody who stayed for this, and especially thank you to everybody who helped with the sub menus. Neo, do I usually go with wobbling super sharp profiles? Depends on the console and the game. For 16-bit and earlier, almost always, yeah, it's either the Firebrand X or Wobbling Pixels Razor Sharp. For games with 3D graphics, it's always a mix of whatever feels right in the moment. The left channel is maxed out? From the game or from me? So I guess one last thing to do, just for the heck of it, just 'cause I know I already did this, but I'm opening the tray of the Saturn, and I'm gonna grab a beat-ass old CDR. I'm gonna try the one that didn't work at all before, and see if it works now. Load game disk. Could just be that it's a, oh, wow, okay. Oh, I didn't realize that, Woody. Huh, okay. So right now, this is a CDR booting off of this Saturn. Which, if you saw at the beginning of the stream, there's no mod chip or anything in it. And the CDR wouldn't even register in the console. Some of the other ones were able to register, but they treated it like a game CD, or a music CD. But this actually just worked. So let me put one more in, just because I'm kind of fascinated now. Oh, and do I need to go back to the Saroo menu, or can I load it from here? Ah, that's another good question. Huh. This thing's impressive. Have you all seen this one? You get to choose which of the Sonic games you want to play. Let me see if I can turn the music up for this a little bit. I don't want to go too far. Options. Spin dash. So you could just play the special stages. That's neat. Neo, even if there is no disc, will opening the test get you to the CD menu? Opening the tray get you... No, I don't think it will. Oh, Woody, links in the description. Let me actually double check that, but yeah. So that's the exact Saroo I got. You have a choice of 3 shells. Tito's video's in there to show you what the difference are. Imagine waiting 3 years after Sonic and Knuckles and you get Sonic and Knuckles. Yeah. I still think this is a super fun game all these years later. I think if it wasn't, there wouldn't be so many Sonic games. Yeah, as people reminded me before, the cases themselves, they don't just look pretty. They're the thickness of the case really helps keep it in place in the cartridge slot, and make sure that you don't end up, having glitches or having it only work a certain amount of times. I do not have a PlayStation 5 or the only newer console I have, in fact, is the Switch 1, and I don't even have a Switch 2, and I'm just going to wait until they're regularly in stock. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to play, and what I would be most interested in is 120 hertz games, and when Mario Kart was 60 hertz, I was just kind of like, meh. Where do saves go for CD games? That is a very good question. I don't know. All right, so drive door open. So after booting into CD mode, start doesn't get you back to the Saroo menu, which is fine because at that point you're supposed to be in CD mode anyway. I just wanted to let everybody know. And I wanted to test for Neo just to see. Are they beveled? Yes, they are. Let's just go into a game that we know works because we've been playing it. And let's see. I'll get to the game and then I'll open the tray and see what happens. Hey, Zero. All right, opening the tray. Nothing's happening at all. Okay, and also load game disk with nothing in the tray. Not a game disk. Great, because there's nothing in there. And now it's with the tray open. So, okay, awesome. This was a really cool stream. I got to clean up Cousin Scott's Saturn. I upgraded it, but also, oops, sorry about that mic thing. Also, we were able to figure out the subfolder thing on the Saroo, which is really cool. I think that's going to be a big help for a lot of people. So thank you all so much. Thank you for the super chats. You're all absolutely awesome. I really appreciate everything. And I will hopefully see you again in a couple of days for another random stream of nerdiness. I have an Xbox I want to check out. And we'll probably jump back into Neptune testing at some point as well. So thank you all so much for hanging out. It's always so much more fun with everybody here. So you're all the best.